Love that intro.
We have a somewhat intro.
That's good.
A temporary intro. I was, Jordan, so excited that I have that intro.
That somebody actually sent you an intro.
It makes me feel like we're a legit thing.
Oh my goodness. So let's give the shout out to who we need to give the shout out to. Who's the lucky first timer?
Yeah. So that was from the Resurrection Blues Band.
Okay.
They're out of Stevensville, Michigan, I believe.
Okay.
And so I found them just by looking up some of the concert series. I had another
you
person.
Went to them?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I've seen them actually.
Knock on the door. Hi. My name's Kim. My podcast. You want to do something for me?
Oh yeah. Hey, welcome to our podcast. This is Grace. Grace. I am Kim.
And can you do a intro for me? But anyway, for those of you who
that's Jordan talking.
Who are new? Yes, my name is Jordan. For those of you who are new, last episode, go in, take a listen, because we talked about how the fact we didn't have an intro.
We haven't had.
You went on the prowl, found yourself an intro.
I think multiple.
Well, we got a couple coming in. But the first one is from the Resurrection Band.
Resurrection Blues Band.
Resurrection Blues Band. The resurrectionbluesband.com. If you go to their event section, because who knows when you're listening to this, you can see when they're playing. A lot of like old school bluesy stuff and
really great music. I mean, like
it is.
They crush it. I'm pretty sure I saw them last year.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure. So we have like the summer concert series that goes throughout different parks.
Yeah.
And they were one of the bands that we really enjoyed. I mean, there were some that like were playing music that Josh or I liked and stuff like that, but they were one that like we were really jamming, and it was a really good one, and so I was really excited.
Shout out to Roger, man, for hooking us up.
Rodney,
sorry, Rodney, my fault. But Rodney let us, like, he's like, here, use this, and then we cut out the first part of his song. Yeah. And then so if you want to go and listen to their music, you can listen to it there too as well.
Yeah, and that one, while you're looking, I'm trying to find it out, but it's really hard for me to multitask. Yeah, it's the name of this song is called The Blame Game.
Okay.
But we just used the very beginning.
Yeah, so you guys need to know, who are listening right now, Kim's kids are in the building.
They are right in the doorway where we are. So because it is summertime.
Yeah, it's summertime. So our kids are out of school. So if you hear like a at any time, like Kim just like scold her children, it's because
we're having a real parenting
moment. Having real parenting moments. So,
I may or may not have threatened their lives a couple of times.
So they're creeping around. They're all over the place, but they're going to be good, and we believe that. So
yeah, they're going to make the right choices.
Yep, and we believe that they're going to go find another place to go to, because they're just creeping around the studio right now is what they're doing.
They're stealing all of the peppermints.
Oh, my word.
So after this, we'll probably go and buy some peppermints for the church.
Yeah, because we do record at the church. So for those of you that don't know. So with that said, comments or anything that has come in via email or anything like that.
Yeah, so we've just gotten some really great feedback. I've had from not my brothers, not my family, which has been really exciting. Mm-hmm. I've had one person reach out, and they just were like, I was listening to it at work. I was cracking up. We got a text earlier from another friend who was like, oh my goodness, this is so good. And so we love to hear that. Yeah. It is great for the soul to know that like we're doing what we want to make sure that we're doing by like making people laugh. We make each other laugh.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we're just trying to make sure that other people can kind of get through a day, maybe a greasy day. And
there was a post on Facebook from a person who talked about their glamour shot, and they did not post a picture. So photo or it didn't happen. I didn't see that photo or it didn't happen. If you have one from last week's episode, you need to drop that, because
absolutely
we need to see that thing.
I also was told by somebody that they have a funny sports story. So anytime that we're talking about anything in the podcast, send us an email. Like we'll make sure that we say this is from an anonymous listener if you are embarrassed about whatever it is. But like, we just want to hear your stories. This is very much a conversation between Jordan and I, but we're also conversing with you. Yeah. We want all of our listeners to feel like they are in a conversation with us. We want you guys to hash out those funny stories and things of that sort, just because it's a good time. We're just here to have fun. We want everybody to have fun as well.
Yeah.
And so, but make sure that if you do want to contact us, you can go and email us at greaseandgracepod@gmail.com.
Yep.
We have our Instagram, which is Grease and Grace Pod, or our Facebook, which is Grease and Grace Podcast. But please don't DM us because nobody's sliding into the DMs.
And just so you know, Kim, it is greaseandgracepod.com. You posted our last episode, greaseandgrace.com. That was not the website.
Did I?
I clicked on it just to make sure, and I'm
I got so excited.
Oh, what is this?
Oh, no. I hope it wasn't bad.
I don't think it wasn't. I was like, that's not our website.
Whoops.
So. Oh, my goodness.
Well, you know.
Anyway.
Luckily, people have had grace. So.
All right. So what's going on for the week?
Well, man, I've got a greasy moment that I am like living. I am living in it.
Okay. Fire away.
I'm
ready.
have been having to go to the dentist.
Oh, man.
And get like dental work done.
When you were at the dentist, did you talk to the nurses about whether or not they're real nurses?
I did not. I don't know when
They're
I'm
actually called dental hygienists.
They are. I have a friend who is a dental hygienist, so I actually knew. But and I'm like legitimately paying for it. So I haven't been to the dentist since I was 18 years old.
Man.
And so
it's astronomical.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I have just been like in and out of the dentist's office, and like the day after too, my jaw hurts. Like I had a headache. Josh was like, "What's wrong with you?"
What they do? Take out your wisdom teeth?
No, I have to do that still. And
we should get some video for when you get those out. I'll talk to Josh and be like, hey, we need actual footage of Kim getting her wisdom teeth out.
I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous about that. And I don't know.
The dentist.
I don't hate the dentist. Like I never really had like a problem with the dentist, but I don't like getting my mouth numbed.
Yeah.
I understand.
But they shake like your cheek. Like, do you know that?
Yes.
So that's a whole new thing because I just had some dental work done and I was like, they're like shaking my face and I was looking and I'm like,
no, that's just called trauma.
What are you doing right now?
Trauma.
Yeah. They're like shaking my face and then they're like, okay, it should start numbing. I'm like, did you just put a giant needle in my mouth? And the lady's like, yeah, we did.
Yeah, but I can feel it. And that's the problem. Like,
tell them to shake harder.
They're gonna just like start backhanding me. Like, do you feel this?
This lady's donkey punching you. Like, you're not gonna feel a thing here in a minute.
Curb stomping my face,
man.
and I'm like, no, I feel nothing. No, I've always been able to feel it, even after like the topical numbing. I'm always able to feel it.
For real?
Yeah, and I hate it, and I like tense up, and I hate getting my mouth numb, and then it's numb for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And so
you feel weird too. Like the dentist, the last time I was there, he like took I can't show you guys because this is audio, but like he would take the huge needle and he would go like up and around my head so I couldn't see it.
Like a Michael Jackson slam dunk.
He's like, nothing to see here. And then
Jordan.
just boom, like right in my mouth. And I was like, what? Oh my word. And then he jiggled my face a little bit.
I just want to see what it was.
Well, and then the guy, he's like, all right, we're going to start in a little bit. He's like, can you feel your face? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, do you want me to touch it? Because my arms are down. It's such a vulnerable position,
too. Are
too.
you in a straight jacket? Your arms are down.
They tied him down. They're like it's like a...
this is actually a prison story.
What's it called? Like a C-section. You know, where they strap your arms down.
All out to your sides.
Yeah, because he's like, can you feel it? And I'm like, I don't know. And it is. It's so vulnerable. You're like laid back in the chair and you're thinking to yourself like, what is happening right now?
I for the most part, I'm pretty chill with it. I just don't like that one part. But
So when you get your wisdom teeth out, like soon?
I don't know. I am holding off hard.
I hate it.
Just because I've heard so many people, and it's not necessarily like the cutting out of the teeth, but it's like The dry socket. I don't know what any of it is.
Dry socket is the grossest word ever.
It is. And I don't know, like, are you supposed to use a straw? And I know that there's like a debriefing of like what you can and can't do.
Hey, lady, we know your face is totally numb right now, but we're going to talk to you about important things so you don't get your dry socket messed up.
Yeah. I'm terrified of that. So I still have 2 appointments.
Oh, man.
Yeah. This is that will be a total of 6 appointments.
When you go to the dentist, like, so what Bethany will do is there's a lot of times we go to the dentist, she'll book like one of the kids at the same time. So when you go, do you go solo or do you go with the kids?
I go solo because I send my kids to a different place.
Gotcha.
Can we just talk about this for a second? Kids' dentist offices are so much better than adults. I want a Mario game.
They're like the McDonald's. Mario. They're like the McDonald's play places.
Yeah, they have like Disney movies playing. The kids, when they're in the chair, get to like pick out whatever they watch, and I have to sit for 2.5 hours looking at nothing. This ADD girl needs something to do. Like,
just ask him next time you're there. Just look at the dentist and be like, "Hey, can we put on a movie or something?"
I feel like he'd be like, "You're a 35-year-old person. You're
like,
fine."
Yes, I am.
I am. Still want to watch Monsters Inc.
Throw on some Sully, or else I'm gonna get angry.
Yeah, like the kids' dentist office.
That's
it's just
unbelievable.
So cool. It's so fun, and
I didn't know there was like an actual like kids dental office. I thought it was just like
pediatric.
And
we've had to go to the dentist a lot.
I always feel like when I take the girls, I'm like, I have to be strong for them. They're gonna be like, they're like, Dad, is it gonna hurt? I'm like, they're just gonna shake your face, hon.
It is going to hurt, but it's also going to be great. Okay? Trust me. As you're like sweating through your shirt. Like,
and it's not the day. It's the next 3. Because then it really starts to hurt. Because then you're the actual dentist isn't that bad, but
it's the aftermath. Yeah, the whole entire day afterwards. And I don't know if I'm getting anything done on like podcast day, because we record. For anybody who doesn't know, we record different.
We've gotten to the point where you're like, I podcast on that day. I can't come in.
I absolutely. I'm not coming in with a half numb mouth. Oh my goodness, that would be horrible. Like. Looks like I have a stroke.
Hey guys, welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what's been going on. What's going on with you, man?
School's out.
School's out.
So I told a guy the other day that I think I had a mental breakdown yesterday.
Oh. I can't wait to hear it. Tell me about that.
So I told a guy the other day, I said, here's what happens. 4 times a year, everything changes in my world because I have a flexible schedule, stuff like that. But like when the kids are done with school, then everything changes because now Bethany's home and the kids are home and like it just changes. It's just a different thing. So it feels like you take the dice, you throw them in a cup, and then we're playing Yahtzee, and we just like throw those dice back in. And now we got to figure out where they land.
Yeah.
And the week before, it was like, you kind of know that's coming and that's coming up. So it's like, but we played a whole game and the scorecard looks really good. And now we're like playing a new game and I'm like, oh man, like, so it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different shift. I am thankful that the kids are a little bit older, because they can kind of take care of themselves. But I'm so used to the previous season when like everybody is kind of like gone. Like Bethany has gone, because she's at school, because she teaches, the girls are at school. So I have like this like window of like total like just time, and now like that's gone. So
how do you like get into focus mode? Because like
tell me your secrets.
Well, okay, so I have a legitimate routine, and this is when I'm working at home. So my job is
flow state is a real thing. Flow state is a very real thing. For those of you who don't know what flow state is, flow state is like when you can rock into a state where you are doing constant work and you're just like you probably do it when you cook. Like when you start a meal or whatever, or maybe before, like when you were at the Bean, like you had like a legitimate like, okay, we're starting service, and then you just kind of like
you coast.
Yeah, and before you know it, like 4 hours have passed. That's a flow state.
That is not called flow state for me. That's called hyper focusing.
Hyper focus flow state. I'll give you that. Yeah. Those are the same thing.
And Josh knows. I think anybody who is with anybody, like any significant other whose spouse has like ADD or anything like that, understands. Don't
interrupt flow state.
Don't interrupt that. No. Like it's really I'm grooving. So I've kind of, because I've had to like work.
How do you get into it?
So the way that I do it now, my whole thing has changed too because it's summer. But they we only have a week between like after school and then there's summer care.
Gotcha.
And so we have a week gap. So I don't have to adjust that much.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But when I'm going to try and stick to that
summer
schedule.
Care. You guys are going to a different place.
I'm sending them to their great aunt 7 times removed. It's going to be like the series of unfortunate events.
Hello, Darla.
Owen is in here right now and he's like, oh,
are we really going there? Like, she's got like a Newport, like, or like a Virginia Slim 120.
Hey kids, I'm ready to have you this summer.
Tell me what you like about your life. Have you been here a lot? I missed you so much.
Come here and give me a hug. I don't know why she has like a somewhat.
She smells like mothballs and tobacco at the same time.
Why, whenever anybody does like that kind of smoky,
because there's so many people out there like that.
Yeah, but there's like a specific accent, and I don't know if it's like a Boston, New York, like come here and give me a hug.
You boys have grown at least 17 inches since the last time I saw. It is kind of Boston. Yeah, New York a little bit. Yeah. I just rocked into it.
I know. Every time that I have ever heard anybody really do that. So
you look just like your mother. It's the lady from, well, speaking of Disney movies, it's a Pixar movie.
Oh.
I think it is from Monsters,
like
Inc.
She's number 1.
Yeah.
Your paperwork. What is her name? If you know her name, tell me, because I cannot. I'm sure my kids know. But anyways, so I will drop the boys off and then I go to the gym.
Yep.
Because I start the morning.
I do too.
For the most part in the gym.
Yep.
You start really early.
Yeah, 4:30.
I don't start that early.
Yeah.
But I go to the gym and just kind of like get through whatever workout it is that day. I come home and most of the time I make like a solid something to eat.
Yep.
I have a desk that once I got this job, I transitioned our toy room into an office.
Nice. Did you keep some toys in there?
No, absolutely not. Those are all upstairs because if you saw what our house looked like with toys all over the place, you have 2 kids, anybody who like
100%.
They're everywhere.
They are.
And
they multiply.
Somehow
they're like gremlins.
And
don't get them wet.
Come with like the tiniest little pieces. Whoever is making these toys, I was just talking to a friend about this the other day. Can you not make them with 1,000,000 pieces? We need one solid toy. Give them a spatula. They're fine.
Yep.
One spatula. We don't need a spatula with like the wires that you have to put in. Like nobody
100%.
needs. You know
if I could go back, like I just buy my kids boxes. Like,
yeah,
because that's all they would just like play with boxes.
I have another friend who all she does is give her kid fruits. I mean, she's a baby, so she's like,
100%.
what is this? But like, she just gives her fruits, and the kid is entertained for forever.
Yeah,
it's amazing. But so I took all of the toys out and put them upstairs because that's where the boys' room is, and the upstairs also has an extra room. So once they get older, if they want to have kids sleep over, then like that's their domain. Upstairs is their domain. And so I turn on music that like blares through the house.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, and it's not like a hype music whatsoever.
You can work with music in the background?
Yeah. I have to because otherwise I have music playing in my head.
Oh, yeah.
And so it quiets that section.
Do you think that comes though from like your previous background of where you were at? Because you've always had like these areas where music's just always like in the background.
It has always been. I mean, I
feel like that's a chef thing.
Yeah, and I have different music for like different memories, kind of like what, or I don't know if it's like a skill, but like I have different music that gets a certain vibe. And so
I kid you not, last week I went to the B&B, which is not a good place, by the way. It's on par with the dentist. Like, I'm just saying. What's your number? Where are you from? Like, because we don't have a local B&B anymore. Anyway, I'm not going to run down this rabbit trail.
Man.
So I'm sitting there, I'm talking to the lady or whatever, and the music stops. Like, legit music stopped.
Ooh.
Like, and so it got really kind of quiet in there or whatever. And so everybody can kind of hear what's going on. Well, this lady on my left stands up, goes back. I didn't even see it. I kid you not, Kim. There's a 90s boom, like little boom box, like, you know, the ones with like the lid that pops up on the top. There's 4 stacks of those cases from like the 90s with CDs in them.
And you just picked.
And she just like picked one.
You DJ your own.
I guess. So she picks like random. I'm watching this happen. This girl who's taking care of my like BMV stuff. She's like, "What's your social security number?" And I'm like, "Hold on a second.
Wait a minute,
what's going on over there?" And so she puts a CD in. She hits the lid, and then she hits play. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, no big deal. Whatever the case is." I'm like, "That's kind of neat. Like, did everybody bring their, like CD cases?
That's your card, your number." And you're bring your CD. They call number 94, and you're like, "It's Guns N' Roses time, baby."
So I'm sitting there. I'm like, "What? I wonder what she played." Like, I kid you not. This is a real, true story.
I'm so nervous.
I hear,
No!
She's playing the Lion King soundtrack on a CD.
That is a phenomenal soundtrack.
On a boombox in the BMV. How'd
you feel about that moment? I mean,
I had
what do you do
so
with
many
that?
questions. I was like, "Oh, this is when we podcast. Can you come talk to me?" Like,
can you please fill out this questionnaire to make sure?
I was so dumbfounded. I was like,
crazy.
So, like the music thing, the reason that I led there was like, obviously other people are like that too. Like they can't work without music. This lady could not concentrate on my left because she was like, there. Like the music has stopped.
The silence is
deafening.
So loud. Yeah. And I'm not like drowning out silence. It's because literally like in the morning I wake up with a song already playing in my head all of the time.
Yeah.
And there's no rhyme or reason. It could be a song from the 90s.
Do you have to play it to get it out of your head?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Most of the time I just kind of sing it and that's
so
it.
You go into this room, you sit down, and then boom, like you're locked in, or does it take a minute?
Yeah. Like for the most part, I turn on the music and like breakfast is done. I sit at my desk and then I am there until whatever tasks that I needed to do are done. And then that's where I kind of like have to, if I step away, then it's really hard for me to get back in.
Oh, you can't get back in.
No.
I told Bethany that a long time ago. I'm like,
hard.
if you interrupt this, like I legitimately can't get back in, and I need like a time slot. Like, so it's really hard when the kids are at home because if anything gets interrupted in that slot, it's like it's such a small window to get back into that, and then it's like procrastination city.
Yeah, I just kind of like sit there and I'm like, I don't know.
Hello, YouTube. Hello, Facebook. Hello, Instagram. Hello, anything else? Anything else that you can do.
The birds in my yard, I've like sat and like stared at them eating worms out of the ground.
Yeah.
Like once I have interrupted that like focus time, it's all done. So I try really hard, especially in the morning. Like the morning time is when I am 100%
I'm good till noon, and then I have to reset, and then I can come back in about 1 to like whatever. Which is the hard part of having your own schedule and setting your schedule is like you have to learn when to punch in and then when to punch out.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you're good. So how many times are you at like an actual office with other people, and then how many times are you at home?
Oh, I'm never really at an office.
Really? You don't go anymore, huh? Unless they need you.
Well, if I go up to
your
my
place of
workplace,
employment,
it's at, I guess, the corporate office, but the section that I work in is a kitchen. Like it's just a full on. You
don't have to go there though.
I don't have to go there unless I have like scheduled.
Yeah.
For a customer and me to like go up and I cook for them, kind of a thing.
Speaking of your house, we drove by the other day. My youngest John and I drove by the other day. She says, "Dad, the inside of Kim's house has become the outside of Kim's house because your front porch is like decorated." What do you do when it rains? It looks like a lot of that stuff can't get wet.
All of it can get wet.
Seriously?
Or it does get wet.
Like, I'm pretty sure all of it does get wet.
Yeah, no.
There's rocking chairs, and
those are waterproof.
And there's curtains.
Those are outside curtains.
They make outside curtains.
They make outdoor curtains, and like the rain doesn't stick to them.
The front porch of your house is legit. I mean, she was like, the inside has gone to the outside.
But listen, and we talked about front porches. Was it episode 1? We talked about episode 1. So go and listen to episode 1. But I have put so much work into it. And so now I still have stuff that I want to do.
Yeah.
But I've gotten it to a point where I can just enjoy it now. And so that's all I'm doing. In fact, I fell asleep on the
Do you ever go outside to work or no?
Yes and no. I try to work.
Try to keep them like separated.
Yeah, like that's my like Zen spot kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And do you have a Zen spot?
Yeah, like, well, it's funny because we were talking about like workspaces and non-workspaces. I learned a long time ago, like never have places of pleasure where places of business need to be, and places where business needs to happen where places of pleasure happen. So like we don't have a TV in our bedroom, for example, for that reason, or we don't have like in my in the home office, I try, if I'm like watching a movie or something, to not watch it in the home office. So like the home office is for work, the bedroom is for sleeping, and then like those things. And once you, I don't want to say, I don't have like a good word for it, but once you like ruin that, it's gone forever.
Yeah, I'm a places person. So like you work out at home.
Yeah.
I have tried. Josh works out at home. I've tried so hard, and it's just,
you can't separate it.
I can't, because my home is where I relax. It's where I am me, and so I have to go to a gym to get myself into that mental state. If I'm going to work at home, I'm going to the office. We also don't have a TV. We have one TV in the guest room that once upon a time Miles decided that he was going to clean it with the entire bottle of Windex. So.
You can't do that. Just for those of you out there that are like, that's a great idea, I wonder what would happen. Don't do that.
He was so proud. Have you ever had moments like that where like he was
bottle?
Oh my goodness. He I think he was maybe like 3, and I was
just
cleaning downstairs, and I think I had taught him maybe to like how to clean the bathroom counters or something. Yeah. No, it was Febreze.
Oh, I was gonna say Windex shouldn't do too much
damage. No, it was Febreze, and it was a whole bottle, and a whole bottle of anything is gonna do some damage. So we have one TV there, and then we have one TV in our living room, and that's it. That's where we will only, I think, probably ever have TVs.
We have a TV downstairs in our basement. I never go downstairs in the basement when it's warm out, because I hate it, because that's where we go in the wintertime.
Is it cold?
It's colder. Yeah. But it's the basement. Like there's no windows there, and it's our winter kind of like getaway. And then we've tucked a TV away behind a couch. So like, in the living room. It only comes out on weekends.
Oh.
so like
in your living room?
Yeah, so we built this addition onto our house, and there's like a piano in the addition and like this couch, and we just don't want a TV in the living room. So
I'm like trying to
we pull it out of the behind the couch, and we set it on the piano bench on the weekends, and then it's like goes away. Like it's the weirdest thing.
It melts away.
It looks terrible because there's like a cord running, or whatever the case is. But it's gotten to the point where like Bethany's like, it's Sunday night, we put the TV away, and I'm like, oh, okay.
The TV. It's been interesting this year. So this is kind of like the first year that like the boys really want to go outside.
Yeah.
And so they're outside. I mean, just yesterday.
You got a good yard for it too.
We have a great yard for it, but I have no way of knowing where the kids are. Luckily, they play like in the neighbor's yard for the most part, or they play outside, like out front. But both of them are wanting to like play outside, and it's wonderful. And so it's perfect timing for the porch to be done, because then I can sit outside and like make sure that they don't get hit by cars.
It's legit because you live on somewhat of a busy road.
Yeah, it's not as busy in the evenings, but I mean, and people's speed.
Oh yeah,
like crazy. So this is the first year that TV has not. I mean, it's not like we parent with the TV at all. Like, you will stay here,
sit right there, don't move.
We don't parent,
which is a like thing. That. Like I can't tell you how many times. So I took a photo of this actually last time. I can't remember where we were at, but anyway, we're sitting there, we're eating. Like we always talk. We have like a box of cards that we use for questions.
So we have like all
these, and then we sit down, ask questions, all that other stuff, and I'm sitting there at this restaurant with my family, look over, there's like a family of 4, every single one of them's on a phone. And I'm like, that is not like, food is such a communal thing that you're ruining like this experience that should happen.
It is. I have an entire book just about where restaurants came from, and it is just like such a together kind of thing. And it does. I remember so many times there was a couple that used to come into the restaurant And they would come in and they're like super cute, holding hands, like young love. It was beautiful.
They're not the old people like, I've been married for 55 years.
Yeah, no, they were like super sweet. And they would order, they would sit down in the booth, and then they wouldn't say a word to each other.
Like
nothing, because they had their phones right in front of them.
It's
which, like,
horrible.
I mean, we talked about technology and how we grew up without it. And so we know, like, can you sit like in an airport and not touch your phone?
So the last time I was in an airport, ready for this? I was going to Colorado to ski. I've been in an airport a lot this year, actually, come to think about it. And I was so blown away at the people in airports.
I love airports.
So didn't realize when I was in an airport how many people bring their dogs. Like lot of people fly with animals.
Now even more so because
why?
Well,
there's a tail end to that sentence.
Well, like, people bring their dogs as like emotional support animals.
Do you know that's not a thing?
You can get them like.
It is not a certified. I had what was that dog? I was looking at getting one of our dogs one time before the dog we have right now, which is Frank. Which Frank would be a great emotional support dog, but
he'd be asleep all the time.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you can pet me, whatever, it's fine. He's probably grouchy, he'd growl at you, be like, no, don't touch me. I can't handle you touching my face. So anyway. Like, I did all the research, called a couple of people who are like animal or canine like specialists, and they're like, you can get like an online certification, but it's basically like being ordained online. Like, it holds no weight, and pretty much all you have to do is just say like, this animal is for emotional support, and people like have to like accept it. Oh. So there's a lot of times you'll see people in the airport that have like emotional support dogs like on their side, and if you talk to them, they'll swear by it. Somebody's gonna listen to this and be like, no, it's a real thing. I'm not saying it's not a real thing. I'm just saying there's no organization that is the company standard for,
unlike trained dogs that
100%.
Are for like disabilities and things like that. Yeah, I just saw, actually, there was somebody who made a post. I don't know. I say this as if I know them, but they had made a post about how unsafe it is because people are bringing in their animals to things that are not trained.
They're not ready.
And there was a dog that was like $25,000. Like, if you get a trained dog,
then which is like a police canine dog, like,
or like somebody to help with like epilepsy. What are they called? What's the name of like a service dog?
Yeah, that service dog would be what I would like coin him as, not an emotional support dog.
Yeah,
emotional support,
like an actual service to like diabetics and like.
Can you imagine like a blind guy being like, "This is my emotional support dog," and he just is all over the place. Never been trained.
There's a movie.
He's just walking him into walls. He's happy. Watch this, man.
He's a really great dog, but it's not worth anything.
This blind guy just running into stuff because his dog. I feel like he's a good boy. You need to go get him trained.
Is he? But yeah, no. This service dog got attacked by an air quote emotional support dog.
They got in a fight.
The support dog, the not emotional support dog, was doing his or her job and like making sure that their human was safe and things of that sort. And so when it was getting attacked, it just had to kind of sit there because the job of the dog. So if you have an emotional support dog, just like be mindful.
Be mindful of it.
Be mindful because there are people who actually need it. But anyways, this isn't a public service announcement.
No. So I was at the airport. First thing, I was surprised how many people like actually bring their dogs. And then if you sit next to somebody on an airplane, I was also surprised at how many people don't like to sit next to somebody who has a dog.
Would you want to sit next to somebody with a dog?
No, like this lady, she like put him, they have backpacks. Like the dog things.
The dogs have backpacks?
Yeah. So people like, because you have to have.
Is that counted as a carry-on?
Yeah, you have to have, that's a good question. So you have to like have them like somewhat, I was going to say detained. Detain your animal, but
put them in the compartments above.
The last flight that I was on, I literally look over. There's a lady. She's sitting by the window seat. She's got a dog, and then the guy sits down next to her, and you could just tell, like he was like, "For real." Like, what?
I'm supposed to be on this flight for 6 hours.
Listen, Paris.
Well, and then on top of it, like, you have to listen. Was it a small dog?
Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen, like, nobody's bringing like a German Shepherd on a plane. Like,
that's true.
I think there's a size to it.
Yes. I just imagine, I'm thinking of like a Pomeranian. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah,
or
they're
not,
real like teacup dogs or whatever.
Yeah. So with that size of dog, most of the time the way that you're talking to that dog is like real cushy. And I don't want to sit next to the hey Bella, you need to sit on mama's lap. Bella, come sit on mama's lap.
So that's what that lady did. She asked the dog if the dog wanted the window closed. And I'm like,
no,
that dog doesn't care. The window's closed.
The dog is trying to figure out what's happening because it's on something that is flying through the air.
And this guy is like legitimately like you could just tell, like, he went straight to the headphones, put the sleep mask on. Like, he was like, no, we're not doing this.
Not today, like, Satan. Hey, I'm not doing this.
You like the window open or closed? And it's like,
are you thirsty? Mama has some water.
Yeah, like dumping her like
water. Do you
water.
Want Fiji? Do you want some spring water?
So that's my first thing. The second thing is like the amount of super intricate people at the airport. So like this again, we're in Denver, so like do the math there.
Ooh,
but
that's prime people watching.
Oh, so this country music band came in on because they obviously weren't walking. They had all their equipment and they were country, like cowboy hats and bib overalls and
we're in the Sticks band.
I had my phone out and my phone went away real quick because I was like, this is interesting. And they just like Southern too. So the guy's like, Darla, you want anything to eat? Like,
no, Bill, I'm fine. I had a hot dog a couple stops earlier.
They had like a stand-up bass and stickers all over it, and like the
Have
whole
you seen my
yards.
spoons? Make sure you don't eat with those. I'm playing with those tonight at the Grand Ole Opry.
We got 10 minutes till our flight takes off. You think we got time? No, you don't have time. Like, oh man, it was a legitimate like just cluster. I mean, these like from the people walking their dogs like they're in their neighborhood, because that's crazy to me. They're walking around like an airport, like Carla and Janet walking around the neighborhood with their Pomeranians, and I'm going like, this is an airport.
It is. Are you an early arriver? Because when I get to go to airports, I sit.
Yeah.
And it's not because like I need to make sure that like my flight's on time or anything like that. I go to people watch.
Yeah.
I need to get through security
so
that I can just sit and watch.
Yeah, not just like the airport. Like, I mean,
so no, if I'm in the building or Jordan, then we're watching just to see what you're doing.
100%.
Just this sounds. Josh always makes fun of me for this because it sounds so creepy. But watching people just be people, is fascinating to me. To just exist is fascinating, which is why I enjoy being around large groups because there's a lot to talk about. But if I'm in a large group, then you have no focus.
And if I don't know those people, I turn introverted in a heartbeat. And then just like I'm zoning out. Like I have massive respect for the guy who lays down on the floor in the airport and just takes a nap. Like he can't. He wants nothing to do with it. He's like, we're done.
I have no cares about anything.
Good for you, buddy. Good for you. Like
I like to just.
And here's the other thing. Like so when I'm at an airport and I go, I don't know why this happens, but there are places in this world where like you. I don't even know how to word this. Like you become not a human and just a product of the environment.
Yeah.
Like, so Bethany and I were on a plane one time and it was in Texas and the air conditioner quit. This is horrible. So like, and Bethany kind of gets like a little freak out mode, or whatever the case is. So we're not in jail. We're not in trouble by any means. This is the plane's fault. They did not like take us off the plane. They're like,
so you were sitting on a hot plane with other people's bodies.
140 degrees, easy.
Man.
I got my headphones in. I'm just like, it'll pass. It'll pass. I'm like telling myself every Bible verse
I can do hard things. I can do hard things.
Yeah, absolutely. Jesus, take the wheel.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Just over and over again. And I was thinking, and I'm like, and then like I had this epiphany. I'm like, you're not locked in here. Like you're a fully grown man. You can get up and walk. What are they going to do? Like, what if that like stewardess or whatever, like shoved me back in my seat. Like, sir, we're going to have to ask you to stay seated. Like,
why didn't they let people off, though?
Well, what if I don't?
What are you going to do?
Like,
Shelly, move out my way.
Listen, Shelly. But I get in those spots sometimes where I'm like, oh, I have to do that. I'm like, you don't have to do that. You could do something else.
Yeah. See, I thought you were talking about how people kind of lose all... This is my thing. They lose all sense of, I don't even know, like, logical thinking. So
that happens too.
Great example of this. The last time I was on a flight, and a lot of times I am flying like to Orlando because my best friend lives out there, and so I try and visit once or twice a year.
You're a good friend.
And we've been friends since we were 4, and so
you don't have to explain it. You were doing okay.
We've been friends since we were 4. Like, she's like a sister at this point.
Yeah.
So I was standing in line. Well, actually, I was sitting, and the flight attendants start calling the zones if you're a veteran, if you're disabled, and stuff like that. So those people go. Then
you ever just want to go?
They call.
What are they gonna do? Like
zone 3. But what I've noticed is people in zone 4 are like crowding the entrance for zone 1. I want to be in zone 4. I want to be the last person boarded on that flight. For some reason, people seem to think that getting on the plane
at a certain time
means that you are like some elite celebrity. No, that just means that you're stuck in the same position on the small flight in the chairs that don't recline for that much longer. Wouldn't you want to like savor that time in the not in the waiting room, in the not the hangar. What's
what is the lobby?
Yeah, I want as much space and as much freedom.
People are running to get on that plane though.
I am not. Yeah. I'm running to the back of the line. And then I got frustrated because the flight attendant was like, if you're in zone 3, you need to move out the way because we need zone 1 to enter to the plane. And I was like, okay. So then I go and sit down. And then I don't know if there was so much going on. There was a man yelling because people weren't moving fast enough.
Which is always funny.
There's so much happening.
Yeah.
But I was in zone 3. I went and sat down, and somehow it was part of a conversation that I was like, I'm just in zone 3. Like, I'm going to just sit here and chill. And then the flight attendant gets over the PA, and she's like, if you are not standing ready to go in your zone, then we will be leaving the plane without you. Make sure that you get in the line for your zone. And I was like, lady.
Nobody's going anywhere.
Chill out.
Yeah, nobody's going anywhere.
I don't want to sit with zone 1. I also don't want to be a part of the line that you are trying to form. It's just all people like lose their sense of knowledge, and it drives me crazy. Just everybody chill out, man.
It's a weird thing. Like it is. You lose like all this like common sense goes out the window, and it's like automatically you just go into like this like we're like cows. You know, like,
the plane leaves at the same time. The plane leaves.
There's always that one guy, though, that's like, I should definitely probably get on now, you know? Because they do, like, the final boarding call, and there's that guy, he's like, I should definitely probably stand up now, you know? Everybody's crazy is over.
Yeah.
But I don't understand, like, why we do that. Like, we automatically think, like, oh, I can't. Like, you can. You're not, like, you're not a hostage.
Maybe because you don't want to be the dude on YouTube who's like, get out of my way, Shelly.
And then like that guy comes in and he's like, you're going to jail. And you're like, no, I'm sorry. It's like sending something back at a restaurant. I would never do that. And I don't know why. Like, I just, if you gave me the wrong food, I would just be like, okay.
Thank you so much. I was so excited.
Fine.
I did that yesterday, actually.
Did you send it back?
No, I didn't send it back. I just ate it. Yeah. I was like, oh, well, okay.
Okay.
It's food.
And you're like, but this isn't what I ordered. And you think to yourself, like, there are kids in China that are starving or, you know, wherever. And you're going like, just eat the food. And you're like, yeah, but this is really not what I want. Yeah. And then some people are like, I'll send it back.
This has a carrot out of place. Can you please send this back?
Don't understand.
So I had one of my like all-time favorite stories about sending food back. Oh, it just...
You sent it back?
I didn't. So this was when I was in another kitchen.
Okay.
So I worked...
Because you're on the tail end of that. Like you're
I'm
on
the other side of it. Yeah.
We're like, this isn't right. And you're like, come again.
So this is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So I was in... I could say an affluent area that I was cooking in. And it was a Sunday brunch. This was when I didn't get to choose whether or not I worked on Sundays, because most of the time if you're working in a restaurant, then you're on Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday.
Yeah.
And so I was on Sunday brunch, and it was near a mega church. And so once that church lets
Here
out,
it comes.
the floodgates are open.
Yeah.
So just Sundays are stressful anyways.
Yeah.
So I remember I
can amen that.
Cooking. I was cooking on the line, and this was kind of when like the gluten-free
coming
fad
around.
was starting.
Yeah.
And so I sent out a plate that had potatoes, either bacon or sausage. I think it was bacon, and eggs. It was very simple plate. And it went out to this fairly big table. And, I sent it out. Bada bing, bada boom. It's done. Moving on to the next ticket.
Sure.
The server comes back with the plate. And he sets it up. And he goes, I need you to remake this. And I was a little frustrated.
When that happens, just curiosity. When that happens, does that plate get bumped in the line? Like how? Yeah.
Just know if you send something back, you are setting back literally everybody else's food.
It's like a doctor's office where... like if he gets behind, he's going to be behind all day.
Yes. Yeah. And we can make it up and stuff like that, but
it just takes time.
It takes time, and it just stinks to have to stop the flow. I mean, once again, the flow, when you break that up,
you're interrupting everything.
And it just, it's infuriating. So the server brings the plate back, and he was like, hey, you need to remake this. And I go, well, what's wrong with it? And it was scrambled eggs, bacon, and potatoes. Like, how do you mess that up?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, she said that there's gluten on it. And I kid you not, Jordan, I slammed my knives down on the prep table and I said, I'm sorry, what? And he goes, she says there's gluten on this plate. And I said, I want you to take that plate back out to that customer. Like, my hands were flailing. I didn't make the food. I said, I want her to show me where on this plate there's gluten.
Yeah.
And
I wish you guys were sitting here because I feel like Kim's going to jump across the table.
It sends such a rage through my soul.
Yeah.
Because if you have a food allergy, you know what what that is. Yeah. And so, and it's stuff like that happens all the time. And so I was like, bring her back and let her tell me where the gluten is on this plate.
So how's it end?
And the server was like, wide-eyed. He's
like, I'm the one that has to go back out to the front lines,
because,
lady.
like, for the most part, I'm fairly pleasant in the kitchen. Like, like, I'm focused, and like I have a furrowed brow when I'm in the kitchen, but I, for the most part, am pleasant. And so when I flip, like, nobody is expecting that. There have been a couple times that I've done that, and people oh.
So then what happens? Like,
he took the plate back. And I saw him.
He runs. He sets it on the table. He's gone. He's like, this is my last day. We're done.
So he takes the plate, gives it back to the lady. And I think he brought back the potatoes. And he said she just needs to know,
like, what's in it.
What's in the seasoning.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a perfectly valid question.
Yeah.
Don't send something back and tell me to remake it.
Yeah.
Because there's gluten on a plate that doesn't contain gluten. Like, give me that clear direction.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was fine. Like, it was fine. But I was like, I'm not making this. You're gonna have cold eggs now because you decided to send it back. Eat your cold eggs, enjoy them, because I'm not remaking your stupid breakfast. Like, I was like fed up with it that day. That was
like, I can do all things through God.
I did not show a whole lot of grace for that one. Just, because
it's hard.
It's really hard. And when you have people who are,
especially
like,
when you're putting your heart and soul into something.
Yeah.
That's super tough.
Yeah. And like it wasn't, she didn't have a gluten allergy. She was just gluten, like, she wasn't eating gluten because her
Yeah, we're not talking anything bad about anybody who's like got a legitimate.
I know somebody who like cannot have anything that was baked in it.
But don't you think you would have checked the menu before that happened?
Exactly. Like, that's why I was so mad.
Yeah. Like
because if you have a legitimate allergy, you're going to know.
Yeah, like you should have checked like the boxes before like you made that happen. I couldn't do it. Like unless it was something that was like a clear like, hey, I ordered a hot dog and here's a pizza.
It's a hot dog pizza.
Like those are two
got
totally
sausage on it.
Listen, Karen. Like, and I always feel bad. I don't know how you feel, but like I always feel bad for the waiter or the waitress because they didn't do it, you know?
Yeah, they're kind of in the middle of it.
Oh yeah.
And I always feel bad too for them because on something like that, they've just lost out on a tip.
Oh yeah.
I didn't make tips. I got paid.
Which cracks me up when the waiter or waitress will ask me, they're like, "Is the food good?" I'm like, "What do you care?"
Do you care at all?
Like, you didn't make it. You brought it out to me, and I look at him. I'm like, I'm sorry. What? Like, is everything okay? Like, what if I say no? Like,
what are you gonna do? Are you gonna cook it?
Yeah.
I want to. You know what? I would love to hear some just really good stories from listeners.
Oh,
if you, and
man.
I mean, like waitressing and is it waitering? Waitering.
It's kind of like
serving.
I think it's serving now because like actor and actress is gone. Now it's just actor.
Acting.
Yeah, acting or whatever the case is. I think it's the same way too. I don't think you could say like waiter or waitress.
So if you were a server, any of our listeners, I want to hear some stories. Just the things that like irked you or like good stories. You don't have to send the story.
Were you ever a server or have you always been a cook?
I've never been a server. Well, I mean, I kind of was, but it wasn't the traditional going to the table and taking orders. I've never done that. I don't know that I have a desire to ever do that because I can't hide my face.
Yeah.
If I am displeased,
like I think I'd be a great server. The closest thing I came to was like delivering pizza. And there was one time where like I delivered a pizza and the guy had called and he's like this is wrong and I was like what or whatever, so I had to go back and
did you make
give him a new pizza. Actually I did it.
Was your pizza good, sir? Great, I'll go and make it myself.
Sometimes delivery drivers do like actually make the pizzas. Yeah, so anyway, so I get to his house or whatever, and this is back when I was in high school, and so like I would drive like super fast or whatever, and he's like, do you want to see what it looked like? And I was like, I guess. Like, so he comes out, I kid you not, he opens a pizza box, there's like everything's on the top, like I must have just like turned a corner or something like that.
You're doing parkour.
Yeah, he's like this is not right, like you can agree to that. And I'm like,
ooh,
like you want me to?
Wanted to teach you a lesson.
He's like you can validate this, right? And I'm like, oh, okay. Like it doesn't really matter. You're getting a free pizza.
I have finals tomorrow. I'm just trying to make $15 in tips today.
Like I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, look at this. Okay, I'm looking at it.
How many food service jobs have you worked?
Ooh, worked at McDonald's. I'm trying.
That was my first legitimate job.
Yeah,
I got my first. I don't even think it's there anymore. Oh yeah, I've got my first scar, my first kitchen scar from McDonald's.
I worked the front there. That was short-lived. Pizza delivery. So like a couple. I worked at a grocery store. I don't know if that counts, but
is that food service? That's like retail.
Yeah, I would say that's more retail than anything else. But like, I like quit McDonald's. I was like, I feel bad for that. It's like because it's not the way it used to be. Like I'm sure today, but. Like there is so many food service jobs are the hardest because especially in those like lower, did I say lower? It is kind of lower, right? Like it's not like high class restaurant. You're going to McDonald's, you're going for something.
It's a fast food. It's not necessarily lower. It's just a fast food where,
yeah. So it's like, and it's just not a good environment.
So I was the window person.
I was there. Yeah, I did that.
Best friend and I worked, and so they always separated us because we would end up talking too much, and so like they would put me all the way back by myself in the window, and I loved working in the window, but I didn't get to be part of anything else, and so then they would put me on fry station, and that's
the thing about working in those jobs is it ruins fast food for you for the rest of your life because you can make anything you want. Like I worked at Subway, and like I'll watch people like make my subs, and I'm like, just can I just come back there for just like a
Let
minute?
me help you.
Like, you're not doing this right.
Yeah.
when I worked, this is a great Subway story.
Can you shuffle that ham over just a couple of...
How about we do this? We're going to combine the cold cut combo and the Italian BMT together. And they're like, we don't do that. I'm like, oh, you do.
You do.
Back in the day, you did. When I was working at Subway, it had like a drive-through. A lot of Subways don't have drive-throughs anymore. Anyway, the lobby would close at 9, drive-through closed at 10, and what we would do is we would always let our friends coming back because the actual like lobby is closed. We weren't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And so the manager drove by one time, and she like saw like we're having a party in Subway or whatever. So all of my friends like bailed, but one of them didn't make it, and we shoved him in the freezer.
What do you mean didn't make it?
He didn't make it.
He
didn't make it out.
And we pushed him in the freezer.
He didn't make it. He didn't get the jump, or whatever. So he's like, what do I do? We're like, get in the freezer. So he goes in the freezer. His name was Eddie. He goes in the freezer.
Hi, Eddie.
Hey, Eddie. And he's like, I'll never forget this. She comes in. She's like, where's he at? Where's he at? And we're like, where's who at? Like, what are you talking about?
Like you're hiding a girlfriend.
There's nobody here, and there was always 2 people closing. So we look dumbfounded. Like, we're on the same team here. We're not telling her that there are people in there. And so she like is looking around, whatever. She pops the freezer door open, the deep freeze. Eddie's like, hey. And she's like, get out of here. Like, what do you say? I can only imagine him now, because when you like are hiding from somebody and they find you, like it's the worst.
There's like a moment of like
sheer terror.
You just stand there before you actually react. Like it takes you a second to realize, like, oh no, they found me.
It's the worst thing ever. Like you're hiding from somebody, and then all of a sudden, like there's that moment of sheer terror where you're like,
"This is it, man. This is the end of my life.
They found me." And so like her name was Chris, and so she's like, swings the door open, and he's just like, "Hey," and she's like, "Get out of here!" So he like just nonchalantly just like puts his head down, tail between his legs, like walks.
He's like,
outside.
"Well, I'll go and take a nap over in the airport."
Yeah. Flying out of Denver tomorrow. She looks at me. She's like, what were you thinking? I was like, I'm in high school. Like, what? I don't think. I have no brain cells in my head.
It's crazy. The amount of responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
So I used to work at a Blockbuster.
Oh, man.
And I was a shift manager.
Did that Blockbuster have an adult movie section? Yes or no?
No.
Thank God.
I don't think any Blockbusters did.
Well, like Family Videos used to. You remember that?
Yeah, I think that was the separation between, like, I think that's what Family Video was like, what we should do. We should have a back section.
Which was always weird, but you had to be 18. I always thought that was really weird. Like you're putting a person in like a really interesting situation.
Yeah. Well, and what happens if you're 16? I mean, I was working at Blockbuster as a shift manager at 16 years old.
No way.
Yeah.
That's really young.
It was really young.
That's super young.
But I guess I was responsible. I don't know. Like if you ask Josh, who also knew me at 16, he'd be like, I wouldn't have trusted you.
No way. No way.
Literally anything. But I mean, like, I did the job. I mean, maybe it was just because like they saw that I had a good work ethic and like I got the things done, but I still wouldn't have.
That's so weird that those days are over, because if you worked at those stores, like you knew what people were renting. I always thought that was super weird too, because like people would come in and then they're like here, and you're like, for real? Like this is top shelf stuff. Like what are we doing here? Like, and you knew everybody and what they watched and all that other stuff, and you're like, oh man.
But there was always like people. It was interesting because there were always people who watched like a certain group of things. And so there was one guy, his name was Chris. I absolutely loved him. He was like the horror film guy. Yeah. And not like the stuff that was coming out in theaters, like the deep tracks that you've never heard of. And so
bunch of B-sides.
Yeah. And so like there's so many people, well, not so many people, like the 30 people. Some of them have to be teenagers, and they're like, the B-side? What are you talking about?
If you don't know about the other side of the tape, you're a lost.
Blockbuster, what? Like,
it was this ginormous.
Idea. It was wonderful. Yeah. But so during like Halloween and stuff like that, he was our go-to guy, and he worked at my store. And so anytime that somebody came in with like, a couple scary movies and they were looking for something else, I'd be like, hey, Chris, come and talk. Like, hey, what suggestions do you have?
Because he
Let
knows.
them know. He knew. And so like all of us kind of had these like niches that we enjoyed. I've always enjoyed comedy.
I miss those days though. It was such a big like. There's community in that. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. It was so much fun. But yeah, I was a 16-year-old girl.
Crazy.
And so like I had a friend that worked there that we became friends because we worked there. There were so many great people that I met there that I ended up hanging out with for a good chunk of time outside of Blockbuster. Like Josh got to know him. And so I had a really good friend. His name was Cutter. I mean, is Cutter. His name is still Cutter.
Did he change it?
He didn't change it.
Don't like that. Going a different route.
I loved Cutter. Like he and I just got along really, really well. Like we would hang out. He would be playing Dungeons and Dragons as I'm like raiding his fridge.
Oh my word!
Like just
it's a different day.
It was, and I loved hanging out with Cutter. And so we worked together all the time, and we did this game called Blockbuster Olympics.
Oh my word!
Where we would like come up with like all these dumb games, like the locks, the yellow locks at the bottom of the movies.
Yeah,
we would. There was always a hole in like the cabinets where you would just, after you take the locks out, you pop those in and then you use them while you're restocking the movies and stuff like that. So there was like always a constant flow of these locks. Well, there was these little like maybe 4-inch square holes in the cabinets. And so Cutter and I during slow times would take the yellow locks and we'd stand across the counter and we would try and throw them, and whoever made the most would buy the other person
trick
candy.
Shots existed.
Exactly. We were doing trick shots. Or like I would hide in the drop box. I would hide in the drop box and I would listen for when people were returning their movies, and I'd reach my hand
Those are gone. Those days are gone. It's so good.
Reach my hand out. There were just so many. Like
You're a kid. You're a kid.
And in charge.
Yeah, and then the manager would come and be like, "Everything good?" You're like, "Everything is fantastic."
Great. So long as like it was clean at the end of the night and I locked the doors. Like that was it. Yeah. Oh, golden times. If you didn't get to experience a Blockbuster, you just missed out.
Or a family video for that matter.
A family video. We had one here in town, but I don't remember what the name of it was.
All right, we got to land this plane. Shoot us your favorite job.
Yes, favorite job
that doesn't exist anymore. That'd be a good one.
Ooh, yeah. Where have you worked? What did you do there?
Yeah, that like isn't around anymore.
Yeah,
that would be really interesting. I'd be really curious, like who's got a gig that like never, like the video store or stuff like that like isn't around. I wonder, man, I'm gonna have to think about that because like even stocking shelves at like the grocery store and stuff like that, like people still do that, not to like the extent of what it did, but yeah. Or your favorite job.
Just favorite job, like growing up.
No responsibility. You ever thrown somebody in the freezer? You ever done that?
Somehow all the responsibility and no responsibility at the same time.
Also, by the way, if you didn't see Kim's awkward family photos.
Oh, Jordan, I have them. Okay, so episode 2, we were talking about Mother's Day and what I got. So we're gonna.
What do we got?
I need to like live reaction this.
All right,
because this is
we'll
ready.
We'll throw it up.
So, anyways, yeah. So send us. What is it? Send us in while I'm getting the camera set up. Send us in your job and then send us in
your job. Oh yeah. Like, I was like,
send us in your resume.
Give us an application. We're not accepting applications, but if you feel like sending us that, or here, give it to me. I'll just
film it. There you go. Okay, so I have it. I think. Okay, so, anyways, episode 2. We talked about Mother's Day gifts. So this is one gift that
oh my word.
We got our mom. The other one I'm gonna have to stand up. And so you're gonna have to narrate this.
All right, so
I gotta take my headphones.
So you missed the if you missed that, that's a pillow.
Oh, here, I can Vanna White it.
Yeah, you'll see it in our social media accounts. And then the other one.
Okay, I gotta take my headphones off for this one.
All right, so Kim's got a blanket. A blanket with oh my word. That's legitimately like an 8-foot blanket with your brother's face on it.
It is a glorious blanket, and we needed to make sure that it was nice and big.
That's huge. That's not like a small blanket at all.
It was. So that was what we had planned.
Can I ask, like, what does that cost? Like, what's the price tag on a blanket?
Over 100.
Easily.
Yeah.
That thing is, it's got a back to it with is that a pineapple?
No, it just has the negative.
It's the negative on the other side. That is even creepier.
And so, it's giant faces. So I will make sure to post that so that you guys can see it. But if anybody who is not following us on Instagram, make sure that you follow us on Instagram.
You're gonna want to pop in the Instagram.
What this beauty is. But it is.
Why are you not in there? It's just your brothers.
Because I would have ruined it. This was a moment that needed to be between Caleb and Keaton, and it was beautiful. I would have just been there, like. With my hands up, like, hello, I'm in the random
If you missed the awkward family photos, they're fantastic.
Yeah, you need to check it out. So follow us on Instagram. Grease and Grace Pod is the handle.
Oh, man. Unbelievable.
But yeah, so it was epic. So
shout out to Rodney.
Rodney.
I love you, brother. Like, that's fantastic. Like,
if anybody else wants to
it's still on the
send
table. Yeah, don't actually, I talked to Jingle Josh yesterday.
Yeah.
He rolled up in my crib and he was like, people are like, really? Did you just say it? Yeah, I said that. That's
Jingle Josh.
That's where I'm from. I'm from a place where we called my house my crib. That's where I'm at. Like, I'm that old. I also got my New Balances on for mowing. Get off me.
Why are those the mowing
shoes
of dads?
It was funny because he referred to himself as Jingle Josh to me. He's like, don't worry, man. Jingle Josh is going to come through. And I'm like, all right. I'm pretty sure you just... I'm sorry to...
His name is Jingle Josh.
But anyway, we'll still accept, like, hey, we don't know what we're doing yet. Like, so if we get a new intro, we'll put your intro in. Go for it. It's all good.
Send it to us.
And until Jingle Josh gets his act together, we'll go from there.
Yeah, but I mean, we're just trying to give him a little bit of more time, and so
it's all good.
Yeah, but yeah, make sure that you send them in at our Gmail, greaseandgracepod@gmail.com.
And any other questions, comments you have, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe,
and review.
Ooh, I forgot about reviews. Mm-hmm. Rate and review.
We need ratings. So calling out to anybody who's been listening lately.
Yeah.
Now to get this to continue going.
Yeah.
You have to rate us.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
We only accept 5 stars.
If you put a 4-star, we'll steal your Blockbuster card. Your Blockbuster card will be revoked immediately. And we'll send you to the dentist. I'll burn your Blockbuster card in front of you while I'm putting a needle in your face. This just hurts me. It doesn't hurt. It hurts me more than it hurts you. So yeah, cool. I don't even know where. Oh, but yeah, we need ratings at this point.
And so make sure you rate it.
Yeah,
and share. Yeah, share it. We always have like a fun.
It's good, clean,
fun title,
good, clean family fun, man. Like, send it around. I got 10-year-olds listening to it and 70-year-olds listening to it.
I know there's quite a range.
Yeah,
so, but we don't get to add to the people who are already listening.
Right.
If we don't get ratings and reviews.
Yeah, so it doesn't, the like, comment, and subscribe thing doesn't make sense until you do something like this. And then you're like, oh, that's why.
And you don't understand like how much other people rely on it.
Yeah.
And so we're not like in a moment where we're quitting our jobs and doing this. No. And I don't really foresee us ever doing that.
No, don't think that's going to happen.
But I mean, if you want this to continue, then
absolutely,
just one little click.
All right. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.